I'm an artist. Or perhaps more accurately, I'm someone who endeavors to be an artist, perpetually striving, forever chasing that elusive spark of inspiration. My sanctuary, my studio, is a small, sun-drenched attic apartment nestled in the older, more characterful part of the city. From my window, I overlook a bustling square, a vibrant tapestry of daily life unfolding beneath me. The cacophony of vendors hawking their wares, the distant murmur of conversations, the rhythmic clatter of cobblestones as people hurry past. It's a constant, living backdrop to my days. Most mornings, I'd find myself perched on the worn armchair by that very window, a chipped ceramic mug cradled in my hands, its contents usually a lukewarm, forgotten cup of herbal tea, as I watch the city awaken below. The world, from my vantage point, often felt overwhelmingly busy, a relentless current of activity, and I, much like countless others swept along in its flow, sometimes felt like nothing more than just another anonymous face in that ceaseless crowd. Life, as it tends to do, had its usual ebb and flow of small nagging frustrations and fleeting minor triumphs. But lately, the triumphs felt increasingly sparse, harder to grasp, and a certain dull, almost imperceptible film had settled over my creative spirit. It wasn't despair, not exactly, but a slow, quiet erosion of joy, a growing numbness that threatened to calcify into something more permanent. The vibrant colors I once saw in the world seemed muted, the intricate patterns blurred. It was one of those utterly ordinary Tuesdays, indistinguishable from 100 others, the canvas on my easel staring blankly back at me, its pristine white surface a stark reproach. My brushes, usually eager instruments of creation, lay still and dry in their terracotta pot, untouched for days, perhaps even weeks. The first hesitant whispers of autumn chill had begun to creep into the morning air, a crispness that hinted at colder, darker days to come, prompting me to seek warmth and a shift in perspective beyond the familiar confines of my apartment. A walk through the city park, a place typically vibrant with the joyous echoes of children's laughter and the gentle rustling of leaves, seemed like the only logical recourse. Perhaps I mused the fresh air and natural beauty might stir something, anything, within me.
The park, surprisingly, was quieter than usual that morning. It seemed even nature itself was holding its breath, preparing for the seasonal transition. The trees, those ancient sentinels of the urban landscape, were just beginning to show hesitant hints of gold, streaks of russet, and subtle whispers of crimson amidst their verdant crowns. The air was cool and crisp, carrying the faint, earthy scent of damp soil and decaying leaves. I found a secluded bench beneath the expansive, sheltering canopy of a grand old oak, its broad leaves still predominantly green, resilient against the approaching autumn. I pulled out my well-worn sketchbook, its pages filled with half-formed ideas and abandoned attempts, along with a dull pencil, hoping almost desperately that inspiration would, for once, strike unbidden. But my mind, a relentless torrent of anxieties and self-doubt, refused to cooperate. It was a muddle of worries, a looming deadline for a commission that felt utterly impossible to even begin, let alone complete. The recent struggles of a dear friend which weighed heavily on my conscience, and that persistent, nagging feeling of being adrift, unmoored in a world that seemed to be spinning too fast. The pure, unadulterated joy I usually found in the act of creating, in watching colors bloom on a canvas or lines emerge from a blank page, felt distant, almost alien. It had been replaced by a heavy, suffocating sense of inadequacy, a fear that my best work was behind me, or worse, that I had never truly had any best work to begin with. I remember idly tracing the indistinct outline of a distant pigeon foraging for crumbs, my focus elsewhere, my thoughts lost in the labyrinth of my own internal struggles, when a quiet, gentle voice, unexpectedly close, broke through the heavy curtain of my self-absorption. "Excuse me," it said.
I startled slightly, pulling myself abruptly from my reverie, and looked up to see a woman standing a few feet away. She was elderly, her silver hair pulled back neatly in a simple bun, framing a face etched with the wisdom of years. Her clothes, while simple and unassuming, a sensible wool coat and a patterned scarf, were impeccably neat, a testament to a quiet dignity. But what truly captivated, what truly drew my attention and held it, were her eyes. They held an extraordinary depth, a gentle luminosity that seemed to emanate from within, as if she carried within her a quiet, knowing warmth, an inner light that transcended the ordinary. In her hands she held two steaming cups, their plumes of fragrant vapor dancing in the cool morning air. "I couldn't help but notice you looked a little lost in thought," she said, her voice soft, almost melodic, carrying a hint of a distant European accent. "And it's a bit chilly out here for sitting still. I just bought an extra coffee, you see, and it seems such a shame for it to simply go cold, doesn't it?" She extended one of the cups towards me, her gesture unhesitating, her smile genuine. The aroma that wafted from it was heavenly, rich, dark roast with subtle notes of caramel and something vaguely floral. It was exactly what I needed, a burst of warmth and comfort, though I hadn't even realized I was craving it until that very moment. I was taken completely aback, a little flustered by her unexpected kindness, by her almost uncanny perception. "Oh, thank you," I stammered, my voice a little rough from disuse. "But you really don't have to. I couldn't possibly." She simply smiled, that gentle warmth radiating from her eyes like sunlight through stained glass. "Nonsense, my dear. Sometimes a warm cup is just what the soul needs to awaken, to shake off the chill." And, she added, her gaze softening further, deepening, as if she were looking directly into the core of my being. "Someone, somewhere, needs your unique light today. Don't let it dim, not for anything." I took the cup from her outstretched hand. It was perfectly hot, its ceramic warmth a welcome comfort against my cold, slightly trembling fingers. The coffee itself was exquisite, a perfect balance of robustness and smoothness, the kind that makes you feel instantly better, instantly more grounded. We sat there, side by side on the bench, in a comfortable, almost profound silence for a few minutes. I slowly savored my coffee, feeling its warmth spread through me, while she gently sipped hers, both of us simply watching the distant dog walkers enjoying their morning strolls and the occasional cyclist pedaling briskly along the park's winding paths. I felt a strange, unfamiliar sense of peace begin to settle over me, a tranquility that I hadn't realized I was so desperately missing until its quiet return. It wasn't just the delicious coffee, it was her presence, her unexpected, unadulterated generosity, her simple yet profound acknowledgement of my being. She wasn't intrusive, didn't pry or ask personal questions, didn't demand anything in return. She simply offered a moment of shared humanity, a pure, unburdened connection between two strangers in a vast, indifferent city. After what felt like a timeless interlude, she eventually stood up, her movements graceful and unhurried. "Well," she said, her voice still soft, "I think I'll continue my walk. There's so much beauty to see if one only remembers to look. Enjoy your morning, and please remember what I said."
And with a final, radiant smile, a smile that seemed to hold generations of quiet wisdom and compassion, she turned and walked away, disappearing with an almost ethereal grace down a winding path deeper into the park, blending seamlessly with the dappled sunlight and nascent autumn foliage. I watched her go, a profound sense of wonder settling over me, expanding in my chest. Who was she, this enigmatic woman with the warm eyes? Why had she chosen me, of all the people in the park that morning? What cosmic whisper had prompted her to offer such a simple yet utterly transformative gift? The questions lingered, but they were no longer tinged with anxiety. Instead, they were infused with a quiet, almost childlike curiosity.
I stayed on that bench for a long time after she left, the physical warmth of the coffee slowly seeping away, but more importantly, the profound warmth of her words echoing, resonating in the deepest chambers of my mind. Someone needs your unique light today. Don't let it dim. It struck me then, with a startling clarity, that perhaps the someone she referred to was not just some anonymous individual out there in the wider world, some hypothetical recipient of my potential kindness, but rather, perhaps it was myself. I was the one who desperately needed to rekindle that inner light, to remember the pure, unadulterated joy of creating, the inherent importance of simply being present, of allowing myself to feel and to express. That simple, unexpected act of kindness, that brief, almost ethereal encounter had subtly, yet decisively shifted my perspective. It was as if she had seen past my worries, past the dullness that had clouded my vision, straight into the quiet struggle that had been festering within me, and had offered exactly what was needed. Not a solution, but a catalyst.
I walked home from the park that day, not with a muddled mind, not with a swirling tempest of anxieties, but with a surprising, exhilarating clarity. The blank canvas that had previously seemed an insurmountable obstacle, a stark white wall mocking my creative paralysis, no longer felt daunting. Instead, it felt like an irresistible invitation, a fresh beginning. The brushes, once inert and forgotten, now seemed to hum with potential. I realized then, with a quiet but profound certainty, something that had been lost amidst the noise and demands of daily life. Goodness isn't some grand, monumental effort reserved for special occasions or extraordinary individuals. It lives, thrives even, in the small, unassuming gestures, the unexpected kindnesses, the quiet moments of shared warmth exchanged between strangers. It's in the simple, selfless act of offering a cup of coffee to someone who looks a little down, a gentle word spoken without expectation, a moment of genuine presence offered without agenda. It lives within each and every one of us, a dormant ember perhaps, but one that is perpetually waiting for us to choose to fan it into flame, to let it shine brightly. That remarkable woman in the park, with her knowing, compassionate eyes and her quiet, unassuming generosity, had been more than just a passing stranger. She had been a profound catalyst. She hadn't magically fixed my problems, she hadn't offered a roadmap to immediate success, but she had, with a simple act, reminded me that the innate capacity for warmth and light, both to give freely and to receive openly, was always there, an inexhaustible wellspring within me, waiting to be tapped. The realization hit me then, not with the jarring force of a revelation, but with the gentle, comforting embrace of a long-forgotten truth. I am that someone who needs kindness, who needs compassion, who needs understanding, and crucially, I can also be that someone who offers it, freely and without reservation. The boundary between giver and receiver blurred, reminding me of our interconnectedness. From that pivotal day forward, the way I looked at the world, and indeed at my own small, evolving role within it, subtly yet profoundly changed. The dullness that had once clouded my creative vision began to lift, replaced with a renewed sense of wonder and possibility. I started to notice the myriad small opportunities for kindness that present themselves daily, the quiet, almost invisible moments where a simple gesture, a thoughtful word, or even just a genuine smile could make a significant difference in someone else's day. The canvas I had struggled with for so long eventually blossomed into a vibrant, expressive piece infused with a newfound sense of purpose and genuine joy. It depicted not the park, but the warmth emanating from within, a portrait of inner light. And every now and then, on a particularly chilly morning as the city slowly stirs to life, I find myself doing something that has become a quiet, meaningful ritual. I buy an extra coffee, perfectly hot and fragrant, just in case I happen to spot someone who looks a little lost in thought, a little burdened, someone who might just need a stranger's unexpected warmth and the gentle yet powerful reminder that their unique light is needed, that it matters, and that it absolutely must not dim. Because the world truly does become brighter, infinitely more compassionate, one kind glance, one warm cup, one simple, profound act of shared humanity at a time. It's a tapestry woven with threads of connection, and each of us holds a needle.